Texas Life and Health Pre-Licensing Exam Question. Which of the following organizations would make reimbursement payments directly to the insured individual for covered medical expenditures? Commercial insurer. A business overhead expense policy would cover which of the following if a business owner becomes disabled? Utilities and office rent. Which of the following will a long-term care plan typically provide benefits for? Home health care. An insurance agent has a fiduciary responsibility to all of the following except underscore 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 underscore. Other agents. In a life insurance policy, which provision states who may select policy options, designate and name a beneficiary, and the recipient of any financial benefits from the policy? Owner's rights. Quarterly premium payments increase the annual cost of insurance because underscore 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 underscore. Interest to the insurer is decreased while the administrative costs are increased. Which product would best serve a retired individual looking to invest a lump sum of money through an insurance company? Annuity. Before a life insurance policy is issued, which of these components of the contract is required? Applicant's signature on application. M has a major medical insurance policy with a $200 flat deductible and an 80% coinsurance clause. If M incurs a $2,200 claim for an eligible medical expense, how much will M receive in payment for this claim? $1,600. All of these characteristics of a health reimbursement arrangement, HRA, except underscore 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 underscore. HRA is entirely funded by the employee. According to the time payment of claims provision, the insurer must pay disability income benefits no less frequently than which of the following options? Monthly. Which of the following statements about health coverage for newborns is not true? Coverage is limited to only congenital defects. Before a life policy is issued, which of these contract elements is necessary? A signed application by the prospect. Which of the following provisions specifies how long a policy owner's health coverage will remain in effect if the policy owner does not pay the premium when it is due? Grace period. K failed to pay a renewal premium within the time granted by the insurer. K then sends in a payment which the insurer subsequently accepts. Which policy provision specifies that coverage may be restored in this situation? Reinstatement. T is covered by two health insurance plans, a group plan through his employer and his spouse's plan as a dependent. Under the Model Group Coordination of Benefits provision, when T files a claim, his employer's plan is considered the underscore 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 underscore. Primary carrier. A promotional advertising item is not considered a rebate unless it has a value equal to or less than what amount? $25. Which of the following is an important underwriting principle of group life insurance? Everyone must be covered by the group. An insured may assign up to underscore 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 of policy ownership under an individual life insurance policy. 100%. What is the minimum number of activities of daily living, ADL, an insured must be unable to perform to qualify for long-term care benefits. 2. E and F are business partners. Each takes out a $500,000 life insurance policy on the other, naming himself as primary beneficiary. E and F eventually terminate their business, and 4 months later E dies. Although he was married with 3 children at the time of death, the primary beneficiary is still F. However, an insurable interest no longer exists. Where will the proceeds from E's life insurance policy be directed to? F. ABC Insurance Company has accepted a life insurance application which contains unanswered questions. The company then makes the application part of the life contract. In this situation, the insurer has waived one of its legal rights. What type of renewability guarantees premium rates and renewability? Non-cancelable. T applies for a life insurance policy and is told by the producer that the insurer is bound to the coverage as of the date of the application or medical examination, whichever is later. Assuming that T is an acceptable risk, what item is given to T? Conditional receipt. Which type of life policy contains a monthly mortality charge as well as self-directed investment choices? Variable universal life. The underwriting process involves all of these, except for policy loan. All of these statements about the Commissioner of Insurance are true except The Commissioner must be elected in a general election. An insurance company would most likely pay benefits under an accidental death and dismemberment policy for which of the following losses? Loss of eyesight due to an accidental injury. K has an accidental death and dismemberment, (AD&D) insurance policy where her husband is beneficiary and her daughter is contingent beneficiary. Under the Common Disaster Clause, if K and her husband are both killed in an automobile accident, where would the death proceeds be directed? Daughter. Life insurance immediately creates an estate upon the death of an insured. Which of the following policies is characterized by a guaranteed minimum death benefit? Variable life. A variable insurance policy does not guarantee a return on investment accounts. V is insured under an individual disability income policy with a 30-day elimination period. On July 1, he is involved in an accident and temporarily disabled. He returns to work on December 1. How many months of benefit are payable? For months. T owns an accident and health policy and notifies her insurance company that she has chosen a less hazardous occupation. Under the change of occupation provision, which of the following actions may her insurance company take? Increase her policy's coverage amount. Which of these options can an individual use their medical flexible spending account to pay for prescription drugs? A new general property and casualty licensee must complete at least hours of continuing education within 24 months of initial licensure. 24. Which type of contract liquidates an estate through recurrent payments? Annuity. Which of these statements accurately describes the waiver of premium provision in an accidental and health policy? Premiums are waived after the insured has been totally disabled for a specific time period. Health insurance benefits not covered due to an act of war are excluded by the insurer in the contract provisions. Which of the following groups may not be insured by a group life insurance policy? Individuals who are related by blood. An employee is covered under a company group life plan with a $50,000 death benefit. What is the maximum amount a spouse may be insured for under this program? $25,000. Which of these statements is incorrect regarding the federal income tax treatment of life insurance? Entire cash surrender value is taxable. With disability income insurance, an insurance company may limit the monthly benefit amount a prospective policyholder may obtain because of the insured's gross income at the time of purchase. A contract where one party either accepts or rejects the terms of a contract written by another party is called a contract of adhesion. An insured must notify an insurer of a medical claim within how many days after an accident? 20. T and S are named co-primary beneficiaries on a $500,000 accidental death and dismemberment policy insuring their father. Their mother was named contingent beneficiary. 5 years later, S dies of natural causes and the father is killed in a scuba accident shortly afterwards. How much of the death benefit will the mother receive? $0. In life insurance, the needs approach is used mostly to establish how much life insurance a client should apply for. A 15-year mortgage is best protected by what kind of life policy? 15-year decreasing term. A life insurance application must be signed by all of these, except beneficiary. How long can a cash surrender value payment be deferred by the insurance company under the non-forfeiture law? 6 months. A Medicare supplement policy may be cancelled for which of the following reasons? The premium has not been paid by the insured. A characteristic of preferred provider organizations, PPOs, would be discounted fees for the patient. A plan through the marketplace may be purchased by any legal resident, except those imprisoned. What kind of insurance policy supplies an income stream over a set period of time that starts when the insured dies? Family maintenance policy. Of personal life insurance premiums is usually deductible for federal income tax purposes. 0%. A major medical policy typically Provides benefits for reasonable and necessary medical expenses, subject to policy limits. Which of the following is a requirement for obtaining a Texas insurance agent's license? Be honest, trustworthy, and reliable. Which of the following statements about the classification of applicants is incorrect? Substandard applicants are never declined by underwriters. P is a new employee and will be obtaining non-contributory group major medical insurance from her employer. Which of the following actions must she take during the open enrollment period? Sign an enrollment card. Q is looking to buy a life insurance policy that will provide the greatest amount of protection for a temporary time period. Which of these policies should Q purchase? Term life. S buys a $50,000 whole life policy with a $50,000 accidental death and dismemberment rider. S dies 1 year later of natural causes. How much will the insurer pay the beneficiary? $50,000. D. The agent met with a prospect and ended up selling an insurance policy. While filling out the insurance application, D makes a mistake. In this situation, D must underscore 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 correct the information and have the prospect initial the change. The advantage of reinstating an original life policy is underscore 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 underscore. The premiums are based on a younger age. A 45-year-old woman won $100,000 in a scratch-off lottery ticket. She purchased an annuity that will pay her $1,500 per month beginning at age 60. Which of these annuities did this woman purchase? Deferred fixed annuity. All of these are considered sources of underwriting information about an applicant except underscore 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 underscore. Rating services. An applicant must receive an outline of coverage when an application is taken for a, n, underscore 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 underscore. Medicare supplement policy. If an insured's age was misstated on a life insurance contract, the misstatement of age provision requires that any death benefit payable would be underscore 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 underscore. An amount that the premiums paid would have purchased at the current age. An agent takes an individual disability income application, collects the appropriate premium, and issues the prospective insured a conditional receipt. The next step the insurance company will take is to underscore 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 underscore. Determine if the applicant is an acceptable risk by completing standard underwriting procedures. Which of the following is a valid reason for an enrollee to be cancelled by a health maintenance organization, HMO, plan? Non-payment of coverage. Every 12 months after the initial enrollment period, an HMO must hold an open enrollment period of underscore 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 31 days. Which of the following is not included in a policy face? Exclusions. Who owns a stock insurance company? Stockholders. P is a major medical policy owner who is hospitalized as a result of injuries sustained from participating in a carjacking. How will the insurer most likely handle this claim? Claim will be denied. Which of these is not an element of life insurance premiums? Morbidity rate. Kay purchased a life insurance policy in 1986 which paid 10% interest in the early years of the policy. 20 years after the purchase, she received a notice from the insurer stating that the policy will soon terminate unless a much higher premium is paid because of falling interest rates. This type of policy is known as a life policy. Universal. Which of the following best describes a short-term medical expense policy? Non-renewable. How often must an insurance agent license normally be renewed? Every 2 years. X owns a disability income policy. X recently suffered a disability which was due to the same cause as a previous disability. These disabilities both occurred over a 4-month span. Which of the following provisions allows X's second disability to be covered without a new elimination period? Recurrent disability. What is the minimum benefit period that must be offered by a long-term care policy? 12 months. The purpose of the period clause is to avoid an unintentional lapse of a life insurance policy. Grace. Which of these would be considered a limited pay life policy? Life paid up at age 70. K is the insured and P is the sole beneficiary on a life insurance policy. Both are involved in a fatal accident where K dies before P. Under the common disaster provision, which of these statements is true? Proceeds will be paid to P's estate. Many small businesses owners worry how their business would survive financially if the owner becomes disabled. The policy which best addresses this concern is business overhead expense. Which of these factors does not influence an applicant's need for life insurance? Self-maintenance expenses. An underwriter determines that an applicant's risk should be recategorized due to a health issue. This policy may be issued with extra premium. With accidental death and dismemberment policies, what is the purpose of the grace period? Gives the policy owner additional time to pay overdue premiums. An example of false advertising would be an insurer exaggerating its dividends in a magazine advertisement. Which of the following statements best describes what the legal actions provision of an accident and health policy requires? An insured must wait at least 60 days after proof of loss has been submitted before a lawsuit can be filed. Why would the insurance commissioner examine the records of an insurance company? To determine the solvency of the company. Which of the following is true if the owner of an IRA names their spouse a beneficiary, but then dies before any distributions are made? The account can be rolled into the surviving spouse's IRA. When an insured changes to a more hazardous occupation, which disability policy provision allows an insurer to adjust policy benefits and rates? Change of occupation provision. Which health policy clause specifies the amount of benefits to be paid? Insuring. To terminate an agent's appointment, an insurance company must send termination notice to the Texas Department of Insurance. Which of the following statements is true about most Blue Cross/Blue Shield organizations? They are nonprofit organizations. Which of the following actions does the Commissioner of Insurance not have the power to conduct? Activate insurance company's financial reserves. Which of these life insurance riders allows the applicant to have excess coverage? Term rider. An insurer may normally delay the payment of a cash value loan or surrender value for up to ______________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________ Who makes the legally enforceable promises in a unilateral contract? B recently died and was insured with a life insurance policy for over 5 years. During the claims process, the insurer discovered that B had understated his age by 5 years at the time of application. In this situation, the insurer will ____________________________________________________________________________________________________________________________Pay the amount that the premium would have purchased at the correct age. As a condition for a loan, a bank requires the borrower to purchase credit insurance from a specific company. What is the bank guilty of? Coercion. Which of these is not a type of agent authority? Principal.